I feel like when I say storm, I think power, I think strength, and scientific side, storms are there to, change the landscape. Everything I do from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed is a full-time job.
That drive and that motivation, where does that come from? How do you arrive there? What keeps that momentum going?
I think really ultimately,
all right, well, welcome to Whatislife.blog the podcast series. I'm Charles Horace, I'm your host, and today's guest is Mathias Milford. Now, Mathias is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for quite a long time, right?
Yeah, elementary days. Second, third grade.
Yeah. Was it first grade? Were you there first grade?
Ooh, you know what? It might have been first grade. Hilltop days, though, for sure.
Yeah, Kidney, right? Mrs. Kidney?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shout out, Miss Kidney.
Okay. Well, we have a lot to discuss about, and we have a main topic. The main focus is your competition coming up, right?
Yeah. So upcoming competition, we are actually just under or about 2 weeks out.
2 weeks out.
End of the month here in June, and getting ready to travel out to North Carolina, Concord specifically, for United States Strongman Nationals.
Nice. Have you been to North Carolina before?
No. This is my first time going to the middle part of the East. I've done like Boston, Florida. So
really,
first time going I guess you could say Middle East United States.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So we'll be a little bit near, just outside Charlotte. So Charlotte will be the main big city we'll
Is that
come
Charlotte
into.
or Charlottesville?
Charlotte.
Okay, cool. Well, before we go any further, give us a little details about who you are. I know who you are. I've known you, like you said, since elementary, but the audience wants to know who you are. Who are you?
Yeah. So my name is Mathias Storme Milford. I am born and raised out of Fort Defiance, Arizona. Did a lot of my schooling actually in all of New Mexico, which is a little bit of a fun fact. Hilltop, and then out to Rehoboth, and then finished out my undergrad at Grand Canyon University. And now I reside back in Fort Defiance, and I actually work there in the fitness and health profession, as a fitness center supervisor, going on 7 years with Seihoto Medical Center. Started as a health tech, moved up into a fitness specialist, lead fitness specialist, and now supervisor. So pretty much left, got my education, and came back home and furthered myself within my career, and also with my interest, which is our topic today, lifting.
Right on. Now, Fort Defiance, that's on the Arizona side, right?
Yes, Fort Defiance on the Arizona side, but funny enough, the Wellness Center is actually just on the other side of the New Mexico border. It actually splits right there between the hospital and the Wellness Center. So technically, Wellness Center is in New Mexico, but yes, they're in Arizona.
Wow. That's something, right? Living on the Arizona side and then doing everything on the New Mexico side.
Yeah, I've actually not really even thought about that until now as an adult. That's kind of funny that I spent my entire life in Arizona, born and raised, and all of my schooling, preschool all the way through high school, was New Mexico.
Yeah, that's cool.
Should have capped it off with college, but college came back to Arizona.
Yeah. Well, your master's. When did you get your master's?
No, so it's just still undergrad.
It's undergrad, yeah. Well, I mean, there's UNM.
It's still on the table. So we'll see what that one's a future endeavor. We'll see what that happens.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you said you're a fitness center supervisor. What is that?
So previously, before I became supervisor, just recently in January, I did do a lot of patient care. So working with patients that were referred from the hospital for wellness and fitness services. So patients who are high risk, who carry some of those diagnoses, high blood pressure, diabetes, even into working with prenatal patients, special populations. So a pretty wide variety of moderate to high risk patients is what I primarily worked in previously. A little bit of some community events, and then now as supervisor, pretty much oversee a lot of the front desk operations all the way into the gym area, which is where a lot of our fun stuff goes on there in the gym. So overseeing equipment, overseeing a lot of our members and patients that utilize the equipment, and all of the logisticals of gym operations, so day-to-day flow and just making sure everything is running smoothly for our community.
Right on, right on. And the community, you mean by Fort Defiance, Navajo Nation area? Or?
Yeah, so Fort Defiance, Navajo Nation. So within our medical center, we do service 16 chapters that 16. Are on the reservation.
Wow.
So neighboring areas like Navajo, Crystal, Red Lake, Ganado area, Cornfields, Greasewood, out into Sanders, Lupton, and back in toward like St. Michael's, Hunters Point area. So pretty much the surrounding area of Fort Defiance, Arizona is where we primarily service. But we do get a lot of visitors that come through that are visiting the reservation. Wind Rock being the capital, we do get time to time visitors, tourists that'll actually stop in on at our facility and check things out, because I believe we do have one of the state-of-the-art facilities for the reservation, and it is part of our healthcare facility.
Okay, nice. So you mentioned like other chapters. Do you have to like go and facilitate other facilities?
So early on in my career as a fitness health tech, I was a little bit more in the community. So working with some of the chapters, offering fitness programs, health programs. And if some of those chapters did have, equipment or like a little space for activity or exercise, I would also go and do like educational topics. So I would actually meet with the seniors and like show them what they could do with their equipment. So not every chapter has it. Some chapters do. But I would also provide a little bit of that education on how to use, some of the equipment that they had. But now more so really just there at the wellness center in Fort Defiance.
All right. I know in the summertime you guys like to do the JMI, the Just Move It. Are you still a part of that section of the organization?
Yeah. Or? So anytime we have community events, whether it's like our half marathons, our biking events, we do get an opportunity to participate in those. Obviously if it's a really bigger event, it's usually the whole wellness team that are participate in those. So we do have a couple events that are coming up. End of July, we're doing a health expo out at Navajo Pine, and that one we're planning to do a fairly big event. So our whole wellness team will be participating with that. JMIs is usually volunteer basis with the wellness team. Right now I am scheduled to help with the finale, which is going to be in Wind Rock at the fairgrounds.
Oh, okay.
So that'll wrap up in September. So, but I do enjoy getting the community events, sometimes to get out of the gym, since I'm primarily there, 8 to 5. So, anytime we have those events, I do like to hop in and, provide some of that help.
All right, cool. Now, like I said, the primary focus is what I really want to go into is your strongman competition. And you're a big guy. Obviously, for the viewers who are not listening to or not watching the audio or the video, listening to the audio, this guy's in a tank top. He's got his shoulders, his traps, biceps, triceps, forearms, all sticking out. He's a big guy, he's a strong guy, right? So, question: how much can you bench?
So, as of Monday, fairly new update, I have officially hit 500-pound bench press.
500 pounds,
and that was very emotional moment. I had a really like surreal like euphoria and high from hitting that lift. Because again, thinking to when I first started lifting to now, the years that I put in, and to hit really something that is like a monumental lift like that, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
500 pounds. It's taken me a lot of years to even get close to that, to scratch that. And I did have that moment, of myself, like, just like, man, did I really do that? Like, was I there? And yeah, as of Monday, 500-pound bench. I do have a 675 squat and a 755 deadlift, just to highlight some of the three. But I've had a cool opportunity through the sport of strongman to lift really big cement stones. I've had a chance to lift logs. I've had a chance to deadlift vehicles. So another highlight would be that I have deadlifted a Toyota Tacoma for 23 reps at a competition. So it's up there, and it is a lot. And, a lot of times I'm in the moment and don't necessarily realize like, oh man, like
Yeah.
I just lifted that. Yeah. So all the training, all the prep, definitely does help out. And like I said, as a Monday, hit that, what would I consider like a lifetime achievement of 500-pound bench press.
Jeez. Okay. Now I struggle with the, 135? That's like 45 on each pounds, right? On each side, 135. Yeah. Okay. I can do a few reps, but I feel like I would have to eat more.
Yeah. There's quite a bit that goes into it. Eating, hydration, and just the day in, day out lifting, accessory work too. So there is a lot that goes into, just bench pressing to have that accessory, shoulders, triceps. So once everything really comes together, you really are able to get those type of lifts.
Okay. Did you ever imagine that you could do a 500-pound bench press?
No, I mean, just even reflecting on that from Monday, when I first started out, that probably wasn't even in the general consensus. It might have been 300 pounds or 400 pounds was what, I was generally thinking when I first started out. And, over the years, getting into competition, really getting involved with my own dieting, hydration, understanding my body, the past, I would say maybe 5-6 years, 500 really became realistic, where it was like, you know what? It's really there. If I push for it, if I work for it, I did the 300, I did 405, which is usually another big milestone. And it was like, you know what? Next is 500. That's the next thing up, and worked toward it. Had a little bit of a pec injury a couple of years ago and worked out of that and got back to where I was now. Couple months, really working on the strength, the power, and Monday everything came together, and it was almost an effortless 500, which, again, blew my mind.
Yeah.
And everything connected, the rep, the technique, the form, everything was just almost picture perfect for that weight. And yeah, just mind blowing to see how far I've come. And yeah, no, it wasn't in the early cards, definitely. Even thinking about 500 pounds was probably more like, oh, I think I could, that's probably a deadlift or a squat, not necessarily a bench. So it's crazy. It's wild.
That's insane. Do you think, or was that like kind of like a goal to achieve before the competition, or is that just kind of just happened?
It became a goal. So I started the prep for nationals a little bit in January, February, really flowed into it in March. And March, April, where my bench numbers were, really started to come about that 500, where I was like, you know what? I think I could hit it before comp. So then it became an underlying goal as I was prepping for nationals. And we came into toward the end of May, was still working on it. I attempted it 3 different times, 3 different weeks, missed each one. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not going to work, but I'm still going to try.
Yeah,
I'm still going to try. This is actually my last week. So 2 weeks out from the comp, this is actually my last week of heavy training. So I even knew more mentally, Monday, chest day, that's my last time to really give it a good go, because I'm not going heavy again until after comp. So again, made sure I was carbed up. I had really good food and hydration throughout the day. Probably a little bit more enhanced than I normally do. Again, because I was already thinking like, this is my almost last chance mindset. Obviously, even though I have after comp, but had that mindset going in like, okay, Monday has to be the day I hit it. And went through my warm-up sets. Everything's feeling really good, and was like, you know what? Let's throw it on. And took it for a ride. Again, anticipating it's gonna go or it's not gonna go. But yeah, late into the prep, it actually became like a full-on goal. Like, I'm really gonna try to hit 500 before I go to nationals. Yeah. And it happened. Checked that off the list, and again, just a surreal moment, but came to be. And sometimes that happens with training. Where, yes, I do train specifically for different lifts, different events, for a competition, but sometimes something else comes up like that.
Yeah. Was there a fear of of injuries, of injuring yourself during hitting this PR, or no?
I think they're usually, with really big lift like that, there is always that little bit of fear, doubt sometimes that creeps into the mind. But I knew this time around I had really put in the work for my stabilizer muscles, my accessory, to where that way I knew I was going to be comfortable with. It wasn't something that I didn't train for and jumped right in. At that point in time, I'm like, oh yeah, there's potential for serious injury. So this time around, I really felt comfortable with where my body was at, how performance was going. And again, the prep over the last really couple weeks, couple months that went into it gave me that confidence boost that, you know what? Yes, I can handle this. And like I said, the 3 times I actually attempted it, I still was able to control the weight. And that still gave me boost too. May not have hit the rep, but I knew, okay, I moved it a little bit further. I controlled it a little bit better. And that's always a confidence boost. Some of the little things like that. Even though I didn't hit the rep, which is the overall goal, some of those little things of, okay, I controlled my breathing a little bit better and came into the lift, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about not hitting it. I'm going to be so focused in, this is it, fight or flight.
Yeah.
And came out with a PR Monday.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. That's cool. Now we keep talking about this competition, right? You want to explain what this competition is?
Yeah, so this competition there's nationals is held every year. It's in a different place, different location, different sponsor each year, and each year you do have to re-qualify for nationals. And there's a lot of comps throughout the country that are held throughout the year that you can qualify for nationals. So with me being an Arizona, New Mexico resident, I usually tend to look for comps that are near me. So, Phoenix, Flagstaff, Albuquerque, looking for some of those comps. Like, okay, that's a qualifier comp. Let me start to get ready for that because I do have to re-qualify again. And qualifying at some of these comps is a top 3 podium finish.
Yeah.
So again, it's knowing like, okay, I have to finish top 3 just to get that qualifier to even go to nationals. So I've been very fortunate and blessed to be going to my 3rd nationals in a row. I went 2 years ago for the first time to Dallas. That's where nationals was that year. Last year it was in Denver, and this year we are out in Charlotte, North Carolina. So each year it's usually a process. I already have my year of comps on my schedule, and I really just go with how prep's going, how training's going, to where like, okay, I have enough time to really prep for that comp in a month or 2 months in Albuquerque or Phoenix. So coming into this year, we did a comp in October of last year, so 2024, and that was what we were aiming for to be our qualifier.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, and we did the comp, and I missed 3rd place by a couple points.
Yeah.
So again, I knew, oh man, I still have to qualify. My wife qualified, and even that gave me a little bit of motivation and push because I was like, oh man, she's going, I got to go too.
Yeah.
So again, knowing what comps were coming up, I knew there was going to be one in January of this year out in Phoenix. So again, circled it, registered, and ended up taking 1st in that competition. And that's what gave me the qualifier for this year to go out to North Carolina.
Nice. Was there any distinctions between the competition in Phoenix and in Albuquerque?
So each competition, yes, is different. It usually is 5 events all in one day, majority of the time. So you pretty much get there 8, 9 in the morning. We're done till 4 or 5. So almost like a full work day.
Yeah.
So 5 events all in one day, and each competition is different. Each competition will have different events, and each event in the sport of strongman has different ways you can do that event. Some events we're trying to pull or lift the most weight, so it's a max weight event. Some events are for time. Some events are for repetition. So what's the most repetitions you can do in 1 minute with 600 pounds of like a lift? So each event is different. So what we did in Albuquerque, completely different what went on in Phoenix. But again, 5 events. There's usually some form of like shoulder overhead pressing. There's some form of carry, whether that's handles, side handles, whether that's carrying stones, whether that's carrying yokes. There's always some form of deadlift, and usually some form of pull or throw. So sometimes we'll throw sandbags over like a 16-foot pole. So each competition is very different. And again, Albuquerque was different. Phoenix was different. Nationals, a whole different 5 events that we're prepping for. So it varies.
Do you know what the categories are for the nationals?
Yes. So I will have to do a log clean and press. So shoulder press. Yeah. Taking a big log from the floor, getting it to my shoulders and pressing it overhead. That one is for repetitions in, I believe, just a little over a minute. And the log I have to do is 320 pounds. So having to get that from the floor to my shoulders, pressing it overhead. There's yoke carry, which yoke oftentimes looks like a squat rack, and all the weight is at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So I do have to pick that up and walk with it. So it's almost like a speed walk. That one's going to be my heaviest. It's
like the one it's like you're holding like a bar, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you can hold it here. A lot of times you kind of push off to the side.
Yeah.
But that one's going to be my heaviest. That one I have to carry 950 pounds. And that one's going to be just a straightaway. I believe it's 100 feet. And that one's going to be for time. So as fast as I can carry almost 1,000 pounds and walk with it. There's sandbags. So I do have to throw 3 sandbags, 35, 40, and 45 over a 16-foot pole. So that one's just going to be a full-on toss, try to get it over for time. So 3 bags. There is a frame carry. So frame, very similar to like a rectangular, like welded frame together. That one I have to do 600 pounds. I have to carry that for 120 feet. So that one's going to be a down 60, come back 60 for time.
Wow.
And then the last event is a frame deadlift. So same rectangular frame, but now I have to deadlift it. And that one's for as many reps as I can do in a little over a minute. And that one is set at 750 pounds.
Jeez.
So all 5 of those events, one day, you get points based off how you finished. And that's how you get your placings.
I guess they don't call it a strong man for nothing.
Yeah. And it's a lot because, again, you're doing a lot of all those lifts in one day. So even like the snacks after the first event, snacks after the second event, hydration, everything really plays into how you're also feeding your body to be able to do 5 events like that all in one day.
What kind of snacks do you take?
So gummy bears, always a plus, gummy bears. We'll do like Pedialyte, Gatorade, the Gatorade water because it does have electrolytes. So we're looking for a lot of that for hydration. So electrolyte water, Gatorade, Pedialyte. We have the gummy bears. Those are always a must. Rice Krispies.
Okay.
Also, we'll do something with like some simple fats. So like Pringles, Pringles chips. That's usually quick and easy. We'll do fruits, bananas. Nothing too like crazy where like I need to be cutting it with a knife. So everything like more handheld.
No banana bread, huh?
So no, banana bread would work if we were able to take it out there. But even like peanut butter and jellies, sandwiches, peanut butter and honey, which is also pretty solid. A little bit more natural ingredients in the honey versus like a jam.
Yeah.
And then usually, beef jerky. So I'm looking for stuff that's going to keep me fueled and then like what I'm actually going to eat too. So, even having things like pizza, having like burgers. Some of those venues will actually have like food on site. So that comes into play a little bit to basically trying to just keep in the calories as I'm doing these events. But gummy bears is always the plus.
I'm stuck on that. Why gummy bears?
Because of the sugars. The sugars you get out of gummy bears helps with lifting.
Really?
Yeah. Same thing with like Rice Krispies. You get some of those good carbs. Those I would consider those good carbs that my body and that's something for me over the years that my body utilizes.
Okay.
something that I found that within like food groups, because there are certain foods that I don't necessarily eat a lot of because it doesn't necessarily hit my body the way I want it to. And then there's other foods that do that. So I stick with those foods for fuel.
Yeah.
And in terms of performance, that helps out a lot.
Okay. Is there a specific brand? Do you like a specific color?
I believe it's Haribo.
Haribo?
Gummy bears. That's where that's the jammy right there. There's a little bit more specific nutrition wise. It's the type of sugar that those gummy bears are comprised of that helps with athletic performance.
Okay, it's not just like
that one's a little bit more like science based.
Okay, so it's not just like a can of spinach, like Popeye or something like that.
Yeah. So some of that again, over the years with my degree field and what I've also learned from, my job and just researching. I see other lifters on, on social medias, and this is what they're eating, this is what they have. So I'm like, okay, let me try that and let me see if my body takes well to that.
Yeah.
Having some of those like simple sugars, having some of those simple fats. That get me through like a really big competition like that. Nice. So we always have like our ice chest. We have our drinks. Cranberry juice is another
really
solid one to have throughout the workout that I found. Again, those sugars, quick digesting. They're not just sitting in my stomach. They actually digest faster. So that one's a little bit more like nutrition, dietitian based. That having some of those sugars and fats is a little bit more like science based on performance.
Do you think what was your degree again?
So my degree is in exercise science, and I do have the emphasis in PE, and I did take a couple classes on strength and conditioning and coaching.
Okay. Do you think having that degree and then also the job that you do you think that like adds to your to the process of your training and the performance of your competitions?
Yes.
Yeah.
So played a big role as I started my lifting journey was when I started college.
Okay.
So played sports all through my life. 5 years old, started soccer.
Yeah, right.
Out in the St. Michael's area, 2 years of soccer, and I believe that's when we played at least the second year. I know you and I played soccer together.
Yeah.
So started playing sports at 5 all the way through high school. So soccer, baseball, football. I tried to do tennis for like a week or so, but it didn't work out because I was also in track and field.
Yeah.
Basketball. I also know I did soccer my junior year at Rehoboth.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did soccer the junior year. Aaron convinced me to do it like the day of first week of practice. So junior year did soccer. So I always played sports growing up. Once high school ended, there's no more. I didn't get like a scholarship to go play a sport somewhere. So at that point in time, sports kind of ended for me. And it became what am I going to do next? How am I still? Because again, I was fairly active like my entire life. That's all I knew was physical activity.
Yeah.
I was always in some type of sport, practice, camps, you name it. We did a lot of travel teams and everything. So once high school ended, for me, it was that, what am I going to do next? How am I going to still carry my activity level? So freshman year of college is when I started a little bit of that groove. When I came back that summer after freshman year of college, 2014 is when I started lifting on a consistent basis.
Okay.
So I went that whole summer training 4 days every week. Very first time I lifted, pulled 405.
Wow.
So started to kind of see there's also some strength early on. By the end of that summer, 2 months in, I pulled 500.
Jeez.
Now, when I look back at my videos, form was a little horrendous. I'm not going to lie. But yes, that played into it because as I was starting my lifting journey, I was also in school learning about what I was doing. Nutrition, proper lifting, kinesiology, biomechanics, how the body works, how, force, mass, a lot of that as I was learning through school, I was taking it right to the gym and like, okay, let me try that today.
Yeah.
Almost like I was doing lab on my own and it was myself. I was the test subject.
Wow.
So the 4 years that I was in that degree field, learning those different classes, strength and conditioning, lifting 101, biomechanics, kinesiology, nutrition. I was also starting to practice as I was in my journey. Because again, I was very early on, started a little bit more in the bodybuilding realm where I was more focused on building muscle, and was also watching social media, some of those lifters to kind of see like, okay, what are they doing for their chest day? What are they doing for their leg day? Let me try that. Let me try that. Experimented with it. Okay, that exercise, I didn't really feel it too much. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. And did that for the 4 years of college, got to my senior year. And mind you, when I first started freshman year, I was probably about 225 pounds body weight.
Okay.
And by the time I got to, so right now I'm at 330.
Gosh.
By the time I got to my senior year of college, so within that 3-4 years, I was at 290.
90.
So I had also put on some weight, healthy weight through college. And again, with what I was learning in the classroom, right away was like, I'm studying it. I might as well practice it. Because in the end, I also knew I'm going to have to show this to somebody someday. So I felt like, okay, I need to be in there understanding the movement, understanding the process of exercise myself to be able to share it with others. And that's where I got a lot of that firsthand experience of my degree field intertwining with my lifting in the early years.
Did the weight come natural, or did you just did you intentionally know that you were putting on weight? You're eating more. How did that all come? I'm curious about that.
A little of both. So I was on obviously college meal plan, so I couldn't be crazy. With the food, I think I either had like one of the lower 2 levels of a meal plan. So I did the best I could with what meal plan I had in school. But as I started to lift, also starting to eat a little bit more frequently, because freshman year I just binge ate pizza, wings. I think everyone has that freshman year. Freshman 15. But when I came back that summer, I really started to try and pay attention to what I was eating. So I was, making sure I was getting good protein. I was getting good carbs. I was also getting good fats, hydration. I was one of those guys that carried around the gallon jug early on. Because again, I was like, I need to work on hydration too as well. And that was also like a fad, all the gym people had the gallon jug. So I was like, okay, cool. Must be doing something right. And just naturally over those years of college, started to put on weight as I was lifting. Because of the lifting, like I said, I was a little bit more muscle building focused, but I noticed I had a little bit of that knack for strength as well. So I started to also lift a little bit heavier each time, and was eating a lot more, to where, by my junior year, I had ballooned up to 295 pounds, which at that time was my heaviest. So junior year, 295, was eating, again, campus food. I lucked out that we had a Subway. We had Chick-fil-A. We had Panda Express. So eating that 3-4 times a day gave me those calories. But again, I was being mindful of what I was eating. I tried to not do too much soda. I tried not to do too much of like the junk food here and there. It was fine. But really just upped my eating, from high school. I think I would only eat maybe like once or twice a day, because we were always playing basketball during recess or lunchtime. There was no time to eat. Eating was like for dinner.
Well, sometimes you get to do a few workouts in the gym.
Yeah, but I really don't think I fully dug into the nutrition side, because I was still like only eating once a day, thinking that was going to work. So even just incorporating 3-4 meals a day, right away my body took to that, and got all the way up to 6 meals a day. And right now I probably eat about 6,000 calories.
Wow!
Like right now, to maintain the 330 pounds. So it's been an ever-going process. So in the 11 years that I've been lifting, I've went from 225 to 330, which is now my heaviest.
Wow. What have you eaten so far today?
So today, breakfast. So I'll just give you like my daily. Breakfast usually consists of 12 to 15 raw eggs.
No way, really?
Now, that's something for me works best because I don't want to take the time to cook it. I've gotten to that habit of if I can just drink it, I get it in quick. Drinking eggs takes less than...
So like Rocky style, right?
Yeah, Rocky style.
Yeah.
Crack them all in a cup.
No.
Yeah, crack them all in a cup. So I do go through, on a really good week, easily 60 count eggs.
Wow.
Through a week, and that's just me. So breakfast, that's usually the go-to right when I get up, 12 to 15 raw eggs. I'll have a snack about mid-morning, so 10. That can be something like a protein shake. That can be maybe like 2 bananas, peanut butter and jelly. Lunch is usually something we've meal prepped, so chicken and rice, beef and rice. Lately, I've been doing a lot of beef, and I think that's what's really stuck with my maintaining the size is having a little bit more of those extra calories with like steak, ground beef. Usually go-to is always ground beef and rice. Some type of veggie. I'm really big on spinach, sauteed spinach. So that's like a lunch. Pre-workout snack, always a must. I usually have my pre-workout snack about 3 hours before my workout, 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
So pre-workout snack, 2 full bananas, 75 grams of protein shake. Now that can be with water or that can be with milk. Either way is fine.
Okay.
And I'll do some form of like either peanut butter and honey sandwich or peanut butter and jelly. So that's pre-workout snack. And then I do my workout typically right when I get off at 5, do my workout 2 hours, and then dinner. Dinner right now is my biggest, because I know for myself, if I can squeeze all of those calories in, I sleep on it. And sleeping for me is when all of those nutrients hit and I have the most growth is during sleep. So for me, dinner is the biggest. Dinner can be anything from spaghetti to, chicken. And again, I'm eating probably for 3 people in these like serving sizes. So I'm getting quite a bit of that. And I try to do a lot of it from food. And then if I really need to squeeze in supplements, I'll do that, like the protein powders. But I do try to get everything more so from whole food. So that's about like my daily, what I'm eating. And then, of course, water throughout the day. Every morning, either coffee, 12 ounces of coffee, or I'll do like a Celsius or a Reign. Usually a Reign. I do have a fairly high caffeine tolerance. So that 300 milligrams of Reign caffeine is usually... sometimes doesn't even do the job, but and then just water throughout the day, electrolyte water if I can. That's about the daily outlook. So it's pretty hefty to maintain this size and performance, and the eating and hydrating is the biggest part. Because if I'm not fueled properly, my workouts suffer. I can feel it in my lifts if I didn't eat well that day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a question, but I just lost it. Okay. Let's go with this one. Your middle name is Storme, and I know that you had a fundraiser on social media with a T-shirt with the storm. What is that? What's the story behind that?
So I was fortunate to have been given the Storme name at birth. So a lot of people think it's the nickname, but it is actually legally my middle name. Okay. And it's spelled with the E at the end. So Storme, Storme, that's the actual spelling. It's actually legally my middle name. And I think over the years, I always embraced being called Storme. It was always a rarity to be called by my first name.
Yeah.
Matthias. It was like, my teammates, my family, my friends, it was always Storme. Storme, Stormy.
Yeah.
As I was growing up. And, obviously as a kid, you don't think that's going to be like a brand. You're just like, oh yeah, cool. Like, my middle name's Storme. It's a cool, I sold into that, like, oh yeah, this is a cool, unique name. Like, yeah, Storme. And as I really got into probably like the late high school, early college, it started to come into play of being like, oh, this could be like a brand thing.
Yeah.
And when I got into college, especially when I was, again, going through my degree, and that's when that really came about, Storme Fitness or Storme Strength, because I was like, it's my middle name. Seeing some of these other lifters, how they incorporated either like maybe their nickname or like their last name, their first name into their products I started to see like, you know what, that Storme name has always been with me my entire life. Wasn't anything new that I just invented one day or anything like that. And I always felt it held some strength, held some power, having that middle name Storme. I always had the phrase like in high school, there's a storm coming, or, that's where it really became like, oh, this is like actually an empowering phrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, past college, now we're in my career, and started to have some of those logos starting to get designed, and it just naturally fit that Storme was the foundation.
Okay.
And being able to utilize that again as my name. Mm-hmm. And that's where it really took off as, okay, that's the brand. That's a brand, because it holds weight. I feel like when I say Storme, I think power, I think strength, and I think grit, determination. You even think like just on the scientific side, storms are there to, change the landscape. Mm-hmm. And I felt that me embracing that really is me changing my landscape of my life and those I get to interact with.
Nice.
So that's how it came into full fruition of like a brand, or that it holds that much more weight than just my middle name.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you make it big and you start selling products, that's going to be the brand, huh?
Yeah,
Storme?
yeah. So you referenced the shirt as a fundraiser. That's actually that's our prototype shirt that's going to be out there in the world. As I would really want to start to get into a little bit of that business. A lot of these other lifters and athletes, they have, their brands, whether that's clothing, whether that's supplements, whether that's, loungewear, you see even sports teams, their logos are everywhere. So once I really started to embrace that Storme part of my life, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to throw that on a shirt. Even just the phrase, there's a storm coming, or, like maybe a gym phrase that I have, but having that uniqueness of that it's my actual middle name, has the E at the end. So it's different from just the term Storme.
Yeah.
And, we're going to be running the t-shirts. That's going to be our first prototype, and have the vision of doing, stickers, shaker bottles, pullovers, wanting to start to get into that realm, and, have that logo and everything as a, Navajo, athlete.
Okay. Are you still selling the shirts right now, or?
So the shirts fully went through close last night.
Okay.
We submitted our first order this morning. Now, that doesn't mean it's never going to pop up again. We do have the vision again to start running those on a little bit more regular basis. So changing some of the color schemes. I know this very first prototype shirt, we went with a lavender and purple color scheme. Purple being one of my favorite colors.
Okay.
And this first shirt shares also representation with my wife, who we've combined. So her nickname is Rain.
Oh.
My middle name is Storme. So we've actually combined the two, and we have that as Rainstorm.
Whoa.
So it really all fell together, and that's what's printed on the back of the shirt. It says Team Rainstorm.
No way.
And instead of like parentheses or quotations, it's lightning bolts.
Oh,
so
man.
That's what we're running as our first prototype. The front says Storme Fitness.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of like my own personal, and then my wife and I's names on the back, and that's what we're running as our first prototype athlete shirt.
That's adorable. That's now you're gonna make me start turning up now. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Cool. Let's take a break, and we'll continue after the break. All right. So you said your competition is about 2 weeks, right? Is it live streamed?
They usually do. So they usually have a partner who will live stream through YouTube.
Okay.
Like I know Denver and Dallas, the previous years, they did have a vendor who more so does a lot of those events, and they were the ones that streamed it over YouTube. So we usually get some of that information probably within the next leading up to the comp. We'll get that information, and that usually will get shared on like my social, for family and friends to be able to chime in on. And they usually funnel that through YouTube.
Okay. How many competitors are there? Do you know?
Over 600.
Over 600.
So over 600. And that's a lot of different weight classes. So teens. So it starts at teens, male, female. Then it goes into open classes, male, female. So you have like lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, super heavyweight for both men's and women's. And then you go into masters, which is usually individuals that are over a certain age. I want to say it's 45 or 50. You have the master's classes. And each of those classes has 2 subclasses. And that's where you have all those athletes.
Wow. What's your category?
So my category is super heavyweight.
Super heavyweight.
So everyone heavier than 308 pounds.
Is that the max or?
Yeah, that's the biggest.
That's the biggest one. Dang. Okay.
Last year I was in a heavyweight. So last year I actually dropped a weight class, dropped about 40 pounds just for fun, and did that nationals at heavyweight. The Dallas one I was in super heavyweight. But by far this is again the biggest I've ever been, the strongest performance, everything. This is like, I don't want to say peak, because each day I'm going even higher. But this is the strongest performance, physical, mental I've ever been in my life. And that's even, way more than high school. I would totally, destroy my high school self at my size right now. So that's the crazy part, know? And I think one of those motivating factors that I didn't want to necessarily let everything finish in high school. I wanted to carry some form of story, past high school. And like I said, myself now would 30 years old, 330 pounds would totally destroy my high school self.
Jeez. Okay. How much longer do you think you're gonna compete?
Life.
Just life, huh?
Yeah, I'm fully committed into this. I really think so. Probably the last 4 years, like really dove into the competition aspect, food, hydration, even taking care of my body in terms of like if I needed to do some chiropractic adjustments. I really dove into the sport. Yeah. Really, probably the last 4 years, like heavily. Okay. It really is my job away from my job. It's a full-time job. Everything, eating, getting groceries, everything I do from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed is a full-time job.
You have to be disciplined, right?
Yep, discipline, motivation, and there's days that I'm just like, I'm tired. My body's tired. I don't always feel energized to go in every time, and a lot of times I still just go in, and that tends to sometimes be the best workout.
Really?
I'll have, really good lifts, even though I wasn't too like hyped on coming in that day, or was like, it's a holiday. Maybe we'll just chill today. And we just decided to go work out. So I do also enjoy that of it too, is getting that rest and such. But yes, I'm fully invested in this. We've bought equipment specifically for this type of training. So even that in itself is an investment. And I've been living it for the past couple of years. Eating, training, sleeping, everything I have on a regimen, almost to a meticulous, like this is what I follow every day and gets my performance the best each and every day for lifting. Because ultimately within Strongman, my high goal is to get my pro card. Okay. And that would give me a invitation to America's Strongest. So having that as a goal, and being in this sport, it's something I foresee myself doing, until I can't lift anymore. Okay. Because each and every day I'm taking my body to new heights, and I'm seeing how my body responds. And each time my body responds. We take another step, body responds well, take another step. So I'm really fully invested in seeing what the most capacity I can get out of my body in my lifetime.
All right. So that pro card, that gets you to a whole different level, right? Is that?
Yes. So that'll give me, like I said, that'll give me the invite to America's Strongest. And even at that point, I can say I have my pro card. Like that'll allow me to potentially get into some of those professional level competitions that you see on TV.
Wow.
So there's tiers to it. So right now I would still say I'm competing amateurly. But once I get that pro card, again, that's another level up. That's another step up. And that opens up a whole nother area to compete in.
Do you ever think about doing international competitions?
So there's also that too, like through kind of like that next level. I do know there's international competitions. So that's pretty much what I'm working toward, is to be able to get a chance to compete at that level.
Okay. That'd be kind of interesting though, because then you would have to like kind of work around the food, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, obviously figure out what they have there and what I can take, what I can't take. But yeah, definitely like internationally would just be a total, like that's like a total, like another next level up that would be totally cool to explore.
Okay.
Because I know there's, comps in like Iceland, Europe area. So there's definitely that potential and possibility to have that experience, taking that next step in the sport.
Okay. So you say you're going to do this for life. Do you plan to do that for like to stay in the super heavyweight for life, or do you think eventually it'll come to a point where you just kind of have to step back from the super heavyweight, or what do you think?
I think so. I think coming down a weight class, and obviously once I get to the master's level, at that point I won't necessarily always have to carry this type of weight because, obviously carrying this type of weight does have its natural wear and tear on the body. I can't be 300 pounds, forever, or even into like my 60s, 50s. So, basically while right now I'm in my youth, like I said, everything still feels really great. The way performance goes, the way my body responds, that, I'm really able to, and, we all know our body. And I feel like I still have a ways to go to really tap into that most peak form, if you will. So for me, it's not about like, oh, okay, I'll hit that in 5 years. Like I really feel I can push my body because I have thus far. I've really pushed my body to where I want it to be. So for me, I still have all the years ahead of me of, life and getting that opportunity to really see where my body can go.
All right. Nice. Yeah.
So, and then just being in the sport, I think, like I said, so again, playing sports all the way through high school, I think now I'm in the lifting world. I would really still like to keep that into my older years, because again, it's so beneficial on a science portion too, as well. If I can really maintain a lot of that longevity, even if I do start to lose weight, maybe the weight's not as crazy that I have to lift, but still keeping that activity is going to prolong in the long run too, as well. So that's also something on my mind, is knowing like, okay, I'm going to be active for the rest of my life.
Okay. I like that mindset. It's very similar to Tyrell. Do you remember Tyrell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Ottawa.
In Ottawa. So I was talking to him a while back too, and he was talking about the same thing about his running. He like right where he's at, he's in a like really nice sweet spot, like because he's able to compete in these Boston Marathon running and whatnot. But yeah, he was telling me that I'm in a good spot, but eventually your body's gonna wear and tear as well. So, but yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just being that ultimate competitor. I was a competitor in high school.
Yeah, he was.
And even for myself, I think you carry that competitive spirit through you. I don't think it's something you totally lose. So for myself, it's simply competing every day. Me against me.
Yeah.
Every morning, it's me against me. I wake up, what can I lift today? What can I put my body through today? And a lot of that does stem from the mentality, where I'm like, I'm going to fight myself today for a better tomorrow. So even having that, I think that's where a lot of that drive comes into, where I think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing what I'm doing for quite some time.
That drive and that motivation, where does that come from? How do you arrive there? What keeps that momentum going?
I think really ultimately having some form of goal.
Okay.
In the early years, it was just activity. Again, what could I continue on with after high school? And picked up lifting. Okay, cool. Maybe the early goal was, let me just start a routine. Let me go to the gym for a month consistently. Let me see what happens. 2 months. Let me see what happens. Hey, I'm going back to college. I don't necessarily have my workout partner with me. Let me see if I can continue it on by myself. Went through sophomore year, still keeping the regimen, eating, lifting. Okay, I can do it on my own. I don't necessarily have to have a workout partner. Came back for the summer, reconnected with the workout partner. Everything good. Everything lifts are there. And I think just having that self-belief too as well, like, okay, I can do this without having someone there with me. I can do this without having someone tell me what to do or tell me how to do it, or, hey, you need to go to the gym. It became like, oh, I'm going to the gym. I started to use myself, controlling, those thoughts and controlling the attitude that this is what I want to do and I'm going to make my body do it. So I think having that initial goal, of just starting somewhere, starting something, whether it's day 1, whether it's day 50, whether it's day 100, each day having that thought of, what can I accomplish today? What can I achieve today? No matter how little, no matter how big, how can I better myself today? I think that's something that's really come into fruition with my mindset over the years, that each day I wake up and, I think, how can I be better today? How can I be the best version of myself? Is that a 5-pound PR? Is that getting in an extra cup of water? There's a lot of different factors that can be positives. And I think keeping that in mind, that this is ultimately for the end result. So I think that's what's kept me into that type of grind, into that type of willpower. And then really, as I started to get in competition, started to lift these really heavy weights, it really became, okay, I think I can lift heavier. Yeah. Well, I can go heavier for sure. That was easy. Now let me go heavier. Boom, hit that. Okay, let me go heavier. So then it became almost like that cycle of, what's next? I achieved that. What's next? Okay, I did it. A little sticky, a little tough. Let me work at it. Boom, let me make it that much better. Now, what's next? So having that type of mentality of best version, what's next, and accepting any and all results, because again, every day is not going to be perfect. Like I said, there's days I don't want to work out. 11 years in, there's days I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to go to the gym today, or I don't want to have to eat so much today. There's days where I'm just, I'm like, I just want to sit at home and watch TV, today. I don't even want to go anywhere near the gym. And I think accepting that as well as a part of the process, that's something to understand. I think over the years is there's going to be those days. There's going to be those days where, I go to the gym and maybe I don't hit what I want to hit that day, but the positive is that I went to the gym that day. Or maybe I did a lighter weight for more reps. That's a positive. So I think something else I've learned over the years is to enjoy the small wins, because I can be really critical of myself. I can be very like, I have to hit a PR every day. I have to increase by 100 pounds every day. But is that always going to happen? No. So I've learned over the years that I've also got to accept the small wins, because those are just as important as the big wins.
And again, I really like that mentality of just being like positive and then also motivational. And I see that in your Instagram account. You like to post a lot of positive motivational content. What's the reason behind that?
So a lot of the things I share on social media are gym related, motivation related, about setting out, leaving the doubt and working with the positivity. And I think a lot of it is why I share, even in my own posts, some form of words of encouragement is for anybody and whoever's reading, those posts, even if it's just a reel of Ronnie Coleman, Arnold for the 100th time, maybe a different quote, that someone who's reading that, or someone who maybe is struggling a little bit with, getting into some form of groove, having some of that self-belief, that they see that and that it empowers them. That's always something that I think I've gotten with my work in patient care, is finding ways to empower others to have that belief, because once that belief, that's when things start to roll.
Yeah.
There was a quote by Kai Green. He's a pro bodybuilder. He has it in, it's like one of his quotes that he has with his merch and such, but it's thoughts become things. So if I can get you to start thinking about it, planting that thought seed, there's the potential that it turns into something.
Okay.
And so for me, when I'm posting, gym content, I know sometimes I can share 10, 15 reels and you have to watch every single one. It really is to really share that positivity, share that motivation, share that determination, whatever people are going through, their day, even if it's not gym related, not fitness related, what they got going on, that there's always, we have that metaphor, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
There's going to be bad days. There's going to be good days. There's also going to be great days, and trying to get them to think in that perspective. So again, if I can kind of share 15 reels and one of those plants a positive thought in someone's mindset, and that's where you have that potential for it to turn into, something a little bit bigger, almost like that snowball effect.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I like that. Is Kai Green, is he still competing?
He still lifts, but no, he's not competed at the Olympia in a couple of years, but still a pretty popular figure in the sport.
Okay.
But that was one that I know when I was going through, like I said, when I first started lifting, I was into the bodybuilders. So Kai Green, Phil Heath, Arnold, Ronnie, I was watching a lot of their videos, a lot of their training videos, their nutrition, and, even their tidbits, when they've shared, about the struggles, about the hard days, about the good days, and pretty much transitioned into now a lot of strength sport athletes. So Larry Wheels, the strongman, Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, and still taking a lot of, what they've gone through. And, if I can share some of their words, some of their things, again, the hope is that someone sees that and starts to get a little bit of that self-belief that they too can get through their day, or they too can, run, walk, lift a weight, eat healthy, that there's always, for me, I always want to be that pillar of positivity, motivation. When someone sees I have a post, I want them to kind of oh, this is going to be some good words for today, or some good words. And that's a little bit of, why I try to share a lot of that type of content. Obviously, a lot of it is gym etiquette and things like that.
Still works.
I feel like it's applicable to life, even if it's referencing weights and, in life, you got to squat the heavy stuff back up.
Yeah.
Might take you down, but you can also squat it back up. So
very true.
There's a lot of carryover, I feel like, with gym, and even my own personal story of what I've experienced in my gym life that is very applicable to my own life. So helping others to kind of see that is the reason why you might see 15 reels loaded on my IG.
Yeah, it's what I expect every time I see your little picture there on the top of the Instagram. It's oh, there's Mathias. He posted something. Yeah.
And I think even like just my personal videos too, like when I'm sharing my own lifts, my own content, it's a little bit deeper for the Navajo people, you know, to let them know like, hey, you can take your body, take your body to this outmost, peak performance. And, you know, I feel like for me, I'm living proof that for a Navajo individual, you know, we don't necessarily have to live in the stereotype of health and, you know, some of these things that have labels that you can fight out of it. And you know, that's one thing that I like to share about my own journey is it's possible.
Yeah.
It's doable. As a Navajo athlete, you know, taking, you know, the body to the top of its limits and expecting more from it. So that's where a lot of that stems from for like my social media. Nice.
Yeah. It motivates me. I always like to share the videos of your videos to my dad, and he's like, "Oh, wow!" And he goes to the gym to go do his workouts too.
Yeah.
After seeing that, so my mom does her yoga and her treadmill. And it's like, it's very encouraging.
Yeah, and I'll get, you know, individuals that'll give me feedback on it. You know, whether I've met them, whether I've not met them, and you know, just the different followers that I do have. You know, will just give me a simple react like thumbs up or I needed that today, or you know, they'll just heart it, react it. So I know I'm getting, you know, some of that people are starting to take to, you know, what they got going on. So again, if I can be that beacon of light and positivity and like, hey, today's gonna be a great day. Let's do it. Uplifting, you know. That's always a good thing to have as a platform.
Would you say that's part of your legacy that you want to leave behind?
I would, yes. Yeah. I would say if I were to think about legacy, it would be that like the uplifting atmosphere, the strength, and it wasn't always physical, it was mental, it was, you know, could be spiritual, could be emotional, like just to be that pillar would be a pretty sweet legacy to kind of leave behind in terms of like our own Navajo people, obviously my friends, my family, you know, those I come into contact with at work, the community that I serve, to be that pillar, that foundation for somebody to build off of, would be the ultimate concept to leave as a legacy.
It's nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Going back to your competition, what's your overall goal? What's your main goal?
So this is my third nationals. The first one I finished 10th, so top 10.
Okay.
Last year, dropped a weight class. Didn't do as well as I had hoped. Was probably about the middle of the pack. So for this year, a little bit better prep, I feel like, stronger, a little bit bigger. Performance is a lot better than, you know, what it was 2 years ago. You know, shooting for, obviously the full goal would be to podium, which is first, second, or third. Top 10 is a little bit more of like the realistic, like basically just trying to climb those ranks.
Okay.
So with this prep, how everything's gone, ultimately I'm shooting to win.
All right.
But I also do know, you know, top 10 would be that positive too. That would be that plus. Especially cutting 40 pounds and having to put that weight back on since last summer. So, you know, everything's firing well. Everything's firing all cylinders right now, 2 weeks out. So ultimately it's to win nationals and to be able to say I'm a national champion. That's the ultimate.
I like it.
The goal with these. But like I said, podium. So it's like having some of those realistic goals too. So podium, top 10 would be content with. Obviously the really big one is coming away with that overall first place.
Is there a cash prize?
Some of them do. I don't recall if this one does.
Okay. All right.
Some do. Some you get trophies. Some you get like custom. Like I know in Denver last year they did custom title belts.
Oh, really? Dang.
For like first, second, third. And then obviously you get the pro cards. And then usually there's that invite to America's Strongest, which is the next competition level step up.
Do you need the pro card to get into that, or do you achieve that pro card once you compete there? How does that work?
So usually the pro card gives you that qualification to take that bump up. And Nationals isn't the only place that you can get a pro card.
Okay.
Some comps across the country will do what's considered a pro-am, which is a way to get your pro card at some of these other locations outside of Nationals. So there's definitely opportunity outside of Nationals to get a pro card too as well. But that would, like I said, that would just give you that next bump up into the next, leveling up.
Yeah. Okay, nice. What do you have to get? What do you have to do for this competition to get a pro card?
Top 3.
Top 3. Wow. Okay.
So first, second, or third gets you that qualification.
Nice. So this competition. Obviously, you didn't get here by yourself. Who are your biggest supporters? Who's your team? Who's there to get you going? So
first and foremost is my wife. She is also my gym partner, my lifting partner. She has a natural grasp for the strength sport as well. So it made sense for us to be in this field. It almost flowed well, very together. So my wife, and again, she's probably the biggest because even more so, she does a lot of the cooking. She does a lot of the little things like that makes it easier for me to be able to do what I do. All the behind the scenes stuff. She'll help me with massages because, again, I'm a little of a bigger person. Sometimes I can't reach certain areas. If I'm trying to stretch or if I'm trying to like rub out a sore muscle or use the Theragun for massaging and things like that. So again, a lot of the little things that she helps me do, as well as the daily motivation, the daily when we're working out, a lot of times she'll challenge me to do another rep or, just say, give me that encouragement or give me that phrase like, that all you got? But she knows I can do more. So for her, it's she's drawing more out for me, which ultimately betters myself. So first and foremost, her. And then I would say my family. So my mom, still very involved in, as she was with my sports in high school and mid school. As I've taken this lifting journey, still very involved. She's made it to all but one comp. So she's only missed one of my competitions. She's coming out to North Carolina.
Hey.
So I think, having my mom as one of my really biggest supporters too, who's always encouraged me to, find that path, find that purpose, find something that I really enjoyed. And, like, I feel like for my mom, with the upbringing that I had, that's where I got my strength from. And it was some physical. We always kudos our mom that my sister and I got her legs. Because that's what like a little inner thing that my sister and I have with her. But I think just the resiliency, the strength, and everything that she had through our upbringing as a single mom has paved the way for my thought process and how my mentality is, how pretty much my life to this point has been, being raised by a single mom, seeing everything that she went through to give us a really good life. For me, I took a lot of that. My work ethic comes from my mom. I saw how hard she worked to keep my sister and I in private school, working 4 or 5 jobs. So a lot of that, my foundation stems from my upbringing, and that's kudos to my mother. My sister's my ride or die, my 1-2 punch. And then, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. So those are like the immediate family. They are all very supportive. They come to my competitions. I usually am one of the few that always has the biggest cheering section.
Yeah.
And that stemmed from high school. High school, I was one of the individuals that always had biggest cheering sections.
I remember.
Even with these competitions now, we will have like a canopy, 2 canopies up, and we have the family there. And now I have my my in-laws as well that will come out to the competition. So having their support too as well. And, everyone, from my mom, my sister, my wife, my grandparents, they're still cheering me on to do what I love, to continue, doing my best. And, like I said, them coming to my competitions, usually always means a lot for me. And getting to cherish, them coming out. And, like I said, I've always had that big support system, through my whole life. And, I still have it at this level, and at this time in my life too. So,
it's a blessing.
Yeah, it is definitely a blessing. And they're always rooting for me, and, whatever I was going to go into, they were always going to be there at my side. And I went into strength sports. So there they are cheering me on. And, when I share my lifts and stuff, sometimes in the family chat and different things like that, they're always supporting with our fundraisers and, even words of encouragement, so that keeps me going.
Nice. Well, your competition's here's coming up in about a few weeks, right? What do you plan on doing afterwards? You going to stay in North Carolina for a bit, or just go back home and relax?
So the plan is to just come back right after.
Oh, okay.
Still have to work.
Oh.
So it really is just kind of going out there for comp, coming right back. Yeah. But I'll get a chance to kind of decompress a little bit, recover. That's usually the big thing after a big comp like this. The recovery time, I might even take a week off of no training just to chill out. Yeah. Allow not only my body, but my mind to, just kind of decompress, from all the heavy lifting. I get to enjoy a little bit of that downtime after. But I do also plan to do a competition 2 weeks after. So,
what?
Because again, I'll be fairly in competition shape.
Yeah.
So there is a competition July 12th in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, that I do have my eyes set on, and that's 2 weeks right after nationals. So I'll get a little breather and then, kind of dial back in for that competition, because I will have the opportunity to try for a state record in New Mexico.
Really? Oh, hey, wow.
Deadlift and log. So there's the potential that I could have a state record.
Yeah, I mean, you got that PR and everything, man. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm like, I could put that in my bio, like New Mexico state record deadlift holder. So that's kind of a little bit on the forecast. And then I know for my wife and I, we have talked about basically moving into the processes of starting a family.
Oh, really?
So that's kind of what we got on like the forecast for this year. Getting nationals. Nationals is our big event for the both of us, and then after that, we kind of get some time to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, being in this sport for a couple of years, and then for her, she's almost just about a lifetime lifter too as well. Yeah. So we definitely also enjoy the rest and recovery too as well. So pretty much after that July comp, nothing set in the books. So we'll both get that time to just kind of chill, enjoy life, make it to birthday parties.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're sacrificing a lot of that for our training, for our eating, and so we get to enjoy a lot of that outside of get to enjoy our personal lives a little bit more and fluid, when we're not so focused on a competition too. So we get to look forward to that coming after competition.
Nice. Very cool. Well, I think we're just about done here. Do you have any final words for the people listening and watching this podcast?
Yeah, I think just I'm definitely thankful and blessed to get this opportunity and to get to share a little bit about what makes me tick, what gets me going, and be able to share a little bit of my story. Again, to ultimately, hopefully, let the viewers and listeners know that a lot of what we can do is ready and there for the taking. If we can really just set in our mindset, and like I said, if we can conceptualize a goal and really pour everything into it, it pours double back into it once you achieve it. So I think, with what you got going on in life and, the hardships, the blessings, letting it impact who you're going to be, using it as a stepping stool. And I think the big thing is celebrating the small wins. I think that's a really big one for mental health. I know, a lot of us can be super critical on ourselves, with what other people are doing. We compare ourselves to others, but ultimately, if we can start to accept and enjoy the small things, the small wins, the small victories, ultimately that leads to really good mental health and, ultimately keeps us in a good groove for what we got going on in life. So I would just encourage everyone to, take it a day at a time, be the best version of yourself. And of course, exercise is always a good thing to do. It's a stress reliever. Lifting some weights, getting out there, getting a PR, whether it's running, lifting, swimming, PRs are good. PRs in life are the best feelings in the world. And oftentimes it's just finding the PR that works best for you.
All right. Very cool. Well, thank you, Mathias. I really appreciate it for you being my first guest here on Whatislife.blog, the podcast series. And our tagline from my website is connecting the intricate moments of humanity, which thus exposes the beauty of us. Meaning humans are complicated, It's not always good. Sometimes there's bad, sometimes there's ugly, sometimes good. It's what makes us beautiful. It's what makes us unique. And that's the purpose of this podcast. So thank you, Mathias. Love it.
Thank you for having me. And all the goals, sky's the limit, and we're just chipping away and enjoying the process.
All right. Well, that concludes our show. Yeah. Okay, cool.